So, I want to talk about something that comes up a lot for me when I'm thinking about personal development, self development. And it's a question that comes up for me a lot. And I'm sure it comes up for other people quite a lot as well. And that question is, what am I missing? Have you ever felt like that? Like you've read all of the books, you've done all of the workshops, you've practiced lots of different techniques, and nothing's changing. Everything still seems to remain exactly the same. Life isn't progressing. You haven't changed anything substantive in your life. And the reason is there is something missing. You know that you're capable of a lot more, yet somehow life keeps circling back to exactly the same place over and over again. And I've discovered through working in the Abundant Self program, that there are really two kinds of people. And the first know exactly what's going wrong. They know that they procrastinate. They know that they're people pleasers. They know that they self sabotage. They sabotage relationships. They sabotage their financial progress. Others know that they're holding themselves back in some way. They know the pattern basically, but they can't seem to change it. Even though they've had all of those tools, they've done all of those workshops, they've read all of those books. And the second group of people, these are the ones that don't even realize that there is a pattern operating in their lives. They think, that's just who I am. I've always been like that. It's just my personality. And they've mistakenly learned a pattern from their past that has now become part of their identity. They assume that it is actually something that defines them as a person. But what's really missing? The problem usually isn't a lack of information. It's actually that something is running beneath their conscious awareness. There's a hidden pattern, a loop, a habitual way of thinking, feeling, or responding that actually just keeps on shaping their life from behind the scenes. And you can't change something that you can't see. Even when you can see it, you often can't see what it is that keeps recreating that particular loop, that particular pattern. And this is why I created the Abundant Self. After nearly 30 years of teaching Reiki, Buddha, meditation, and other personal and spiritual development practices, I realized that this is where people get stuck. They don't need yet another technique. That's the last thing they need. They've got plenty of those already. What they need is a way of becoming more aware of the hidden structures that are organizing their experience. And once they can genuinely see those structures, then they can begin changing their relationship with them. And that's exactly what I'm going to be exploring in my free webinar, which is called What Am I Missing? And we're going to look at why intelligent, capable people stay stuck, why knowing often isn't enough, and how learning to recognize the patterns that are running beneath the surface open up the doors to genuine, lasting change. So if that question has ever crossed your mind, I would definitely love you to join me on this webinar. It's on the 8th of September. It's at 6:45 BST. It's free to join, so you're very welcome to come along. Just check out the link below this video. As soon as this video is finished, I'll be posting the link. In fact, it's in the description, so you can already find that. But it is important to reflect on this, because so many people spend so much of their time trying to change their lives. They're attending all sorts of workshops, all sorts of personal development workshops. They're going to webinars, they're going to workshops, they're reading books, and nothing is changing for them. Why is that? What is it that they're missing? And this is a big question. It's a question that I ask myself many times. I've asked it over and over again. What is it that I'm missing? Why am I doing all of these practices exactly as I'm told, like the tutor in the workshop told me to do it, or like the author of the book told me to do it. Why is it that I'm doing everything right and yet nothing is changing? And the reason is it's that pattern that is operating underneath the surface. You've learnt something in your past that you believe is defining how you are in the present moment. And it may well be defining how you are in the present moment, but it isn't you. It's not your personality. This is an adaptation. This is a pattern that you've learnt that probably served you at some point in the past. It may have kept you safe. It may have provided security in some way. It may have um, allowed life to stay in a very comfortable space rather than a challenging space. But you learnt something that was important to you in the past that is still operating in your life now, and it may not be serving you anymore. And you believe that it's part of your personality, it's part of who you are. What you need to do is dig down, discover that pattern, and then start dismantling it. If that pattern is not serving you anymore, you need to dismantle it, because it is not defining you, it is not part of your personality, it's not who you are, it's something you added to yourself, and it became blended in with the rest of your being, and you just assumed that it was part of who you are. It isn't. Once you start dismantling that pattern, once you start taking that apart, you start to reveal much more about what you're capable of, and what you can achieve and what you can do with your life. Another person on the abundant self at the moment has suffered from, um, what's the word I'm looking for? She's suffered from really not being able to be seen. She's always feels like she needs to keep herself to herself. That she doesn't go out in public. She doesn't socialize with other people. She feels uncomfortable when she does that, and she realizes that she's got this as a problem, that it needs resolving. And she's attended lots of workshops and read books before, and nothing has fixed the problem. Now she knows why she feels that way. The abundant self gave her the tools to discover why she is the way she is. And now she has the tools to start dismantling that pattern. It's not comfortable. Of course, often it isn't comfortable to dismantle patterns because we've lived with them for so long. But she's on the journey of self discovery that will allow her to dismantle that pattern and start to live in a much more open and free way. She won't feel constrained by the pattern that's keeping her inside a box. And this is what the abundant self is good for. It is really good at identifying the patterns, bringing those patterns to the surface, and then allowing you to dismantle them. There's a whole range of tools that you can use to dismantle these patterns. So if you're finding that you're stuck in your life, that things aren't going the way that you want them to go, and you've done all of the self-development work, you've read the books, you've attended the courses, and you still feel stuck, come along to the Abundant Self webinar, 8th of September, 6:45. It's completely free. All you need to do is click on the link and register. Okay, thanks for watching.